like it?
Yes, I really do.
I'm going to tell you a little story about this puppet. The owner of this puppet was an East Indian. It is believed that this puppet has very strange powers.
That's enough of that. SOV horror movies hold a special place in my heart. The auteur theory may be in its purest form when it comes to certain shot-on-video pics. Sure, some real production companies experimented with shooting features on the relatively new and extremely cheap technology made available in the early 80s, but more often than not, a single person will be running both sound and camera while the actors, and I use that term loosely, would run, jump, and play. Many SOV flicks are either mad slasher efforts or softcore affairs, but Black Devil Doll from Hell is a horse, or rather a doll, of a different color. Writer-director Chester N. Turner, who mostly did everything else crew-wise considering the massive and mostly fraudulent opening credits, was a huge fan of The Twilight Zone, and initially imagined the tale of a mysterious puppet awakening the sexual appetite of a deeply pious woman as part of a larger anthology film. Turner wrote the script in 3 days, and realized his morality fable was simply too large to pare down for what would eventually become his second feature, 1987's Tales from the Quadet Zone. Thanks to a filmmaking correspondence course which took around 8 months to complete, he applied his obvious passion and vision to bring this bizarre and darkly funny project to VCRs everywhere. What makes Black Devil Doll from Hell stand out against its fellow SOV horror brethren? Well, for one, the horror genre has been a predominantly Caucasian affair, with very few Afrocentric features to speak of. Some say it represents the last vestige of the blaxploitation movement, which featured such horror flicks as Blackula, Blackenstein, and Abby. But that fact didn't interest any of Turner's friends, who refused to invest a penny into his strange venture. A hard cut to the exterior of a church indicates the lack of a smooth editing process. The footage looks like a home movie, which is apropos since the equipment he used was likely intended for birthday parties or graduations, not psychosexual rape fantasies. Dialogue is often drowned out by a shrieking Casio score, but we get the gist as our heroine visits a curio shop and gives this strange, oft-returned puppet a home. Despite the rough edges, Turner obviously has some instincts as a filmmaker. Rather than shoot a boring phone call, his roving camera pans across various religious items. What's missing is some basic finesse. If the cuts from one object to another had some dissolves or were simply smoother, it would be an acceptable filmmaking flourish. We reach the climax rather quickly, and there's a lot to be said for the madness of the centerpiece. Whether or not it's purely exploitative or an exploration of the sexual awakening of a repressed woman is an intriguing question, but the horrific aspects of the film's most famous sequence does make it difficult to be objective. Shocking and surprisingly brutal, Shirley Jones isn't a great actress, but her bravery can't be discounted or ignored.
Now that you have smelt the foulness of my breath, you may now taste the sweetness of my tongue.
I imagine Chester Turner took a long look at this line, smiled, leaned back, and nodded. Post-attack, the film quickly runs out of steam and ambles along until its dark and damning finale. Black Devil Doll from Hell is too rough and nasty to be a so bad it's good film. At times, it is extremely funny, but because of the poor quality and off-putting subject matter, it keeps viewers slightly off-center, not to mention a bit bored in its latter half. It's a world that both resembles modern society while remaining in a dimension all its own. As far as a concept, it could work quite well as a Twilight Zone or Outer Limits episode, albeit a derivative one thanks to Zone's classic Living Doll episode. What Chester Turner created was a twisted look at both religious piety and sexual self-suppression giving way to a carnal lust like none our heroines ever known. It's jaw-dropping in its ineptitude, but extraordinary for its boldness. Thanks for watching, you jive turkeys. Plenty more scary stuff coming up, so like and subscribe and have a happy Halloween.